I'd like to call the August 13, 2025 meeting of the Ogden Town Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask you to remain standing for a moment of silent reflection and prayer for our military servicemen and women serving around the world, as well as for our first responders. I'd ask that you remain standing for another moment of silence. Earlier today, we learned of the passing of former police chief Russ Rule, and I ask that you remain standing in a moment of silence for his memory. Thank you. The first item on the agenda today is a public hearing for local law number 1 of 2025. Madam Clerk, whenever you are ready. No, take your time. No problem. We are holding a public hearing to review introductory local law number 1, local law of the town of Ogden proposing to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3C. But we have to read the very specific legalese before we are able to open that.
Please take notice that the town board of the town of Ogden will hold and conduct a public hearing upon introductory local law number 1 of the year 2025. The town board will hold and conduct such public hearing at the Ogden Community Center, 269 Ogden Center Road, on the 13th day of August 2025 at 7 p.m., at which hearing all interested persons shall be heard concerning the subject matter thereof. The proposed local law proposes to allow the town board to adopt a budget for the fiscal year 2026, which will exceed the tax levy limit as defined by the provisions of General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. The proposed budget for the fiscal year 2026, as calculated pursuant to the regulations of General Municipal Law relating to tax levy limits, will exceed tax levy limits as calculated by the town of Ogden if finally adopted. All interested persons shall be heard considering the subject matter thereof. A full and complete copy of local law is presently on file in the town clerk's office, where it may be examined during normal business hours. I apologize.
No problem. Thank you. For the purposes of presenting some rationale here, we've invited the Finance Director, Sherry Foley, to explain this.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for tonight's discussion about the New York State tax cap and what it means for the town of Ogden. First, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page about what the tax cap is. In New York State, the property tax cap limits the amount of local government and most school districts can increase their tax levy over the prior year's collection. The tax levy is the total amount of property taxes mitigated that hit by switching carriers, thus decreasing that increase to $65,000. The 2026 increase is still unknown, however. There's dental insurance. Even a 5% increase here would cost the town an additional $2,500. 10%, $5,000. We have not yet received any estimates for the 2026 dental costs. We have the Teamsters insurance. For our highway employees, health insurance is set to go up about 7%, or roughly $15,500. The New York State retirement contributions are another major factor. The New York State retirement system has projected a 16.1% increase in employer contributions, which for Ogden means about $146,000 more than last year. We do not, however, have final numbers on the potential increase. Liability insurance is also trending upward. Natural disasters such as hurricanes, fires, tornadoes, and flooding, in addition to rising auto theft rates, are pushing costs up everywhere. We're anticipating an increase of 15 to 20%, which would mean $33,000 to $44,200 more than was paid last year. And workers' compensation, this mandatory insurance is estimated to rise by $11,300 in 2026. And there are other aspects to look at here, like the cost of equipment and materials. Vehicle costs have surged even under New York State government pricing. For instance, the town purchased a police interceptor in 2016 at a cost of $29,302. In 2021, the same vehicle cost $40,058. Then recently in 2025, the town purchased an interceptor at a cost of $51,583. So in this time frame, it went up $22,281. Another example of rising costs can be seen in an equipment purchase. The town bought a Volvo dump truck in 2021 for $224,000. The town also bought a Volvo dump truck in 2025 for $313,000, up $88,000. Let me remind you again that the town purchases its vehicles and equipment utilizing New York State government pricing, the best prices available to us. We're also seeing material costs climbing. For example, the highway department uses county number 1 binder asphalt on its jobs. In August of '23, it was $75.42 per ton. In August of '24, it was $77.22 per ton. Now in August of '25, it costs $80.48 per ton, up $5.06 in 2 years. And materials such as these are purchased under county contracts using government pricing, the best pricing available to us. The town is faced with other pressures as well. Interest rates. Fluctuating interest rates affect our investment earnings, which help to offset taxes, but they're unpredictable. Here's the significance of interest rates. If the town can budget more interest income, then we can potentially plan for levying less taxes. We're also faced with minimum wage increases. This state mandated increase adds to our payroll costs. So why does this matter tonight, and why am I sharing this information with you? The town board and I take pride in building responsible, low-cost budgets. Year after year, we've worked hard to stay under the tax cap while delivering essential services. This means saying no to requests we can't justify, using savings to reduce the tax burden, and aggressively seeking cost efficiencies in every department. But the reality is this: we cannot control state contract pricing. We cannot control county contract pricing. We cannot control healthcare insurance rates. We cannot control retirement costs, and we cannot control minimum wage mandates. We cannot control mandated liability or workers' compensation insurance rates. We cannot control market prices for vehicles
Thank you, Sherry. Does the board have any questions, comments, thoughts? Well, then I'll open it up to the public, because it is a public hearing, if anyone wants to address this specific topic. I just want to remind everybody, we're not voting on this. This is the opportunity for us to hear and receive the information, digest it, and then consider at a future date. Anybody that wishes to address the board on this specific topic? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Thank you. Next, we have a presentation, quarterly update from Chief Melissa Gefford, Gates Volunteer Ambulance Service. Chief?
Good.
I think we have copies, Chief.
Oh, I don't have that.
Give me the fancy thing then.
You guys just got one for the answers. I know you guys
Thank
like to see that.
Oh, sorry.
I got two. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
So start with the call counts, I'll give you guys what our call volume is currently. For the town of Ogden, so far for second quarter, it increased our call volume to 645 calls. Parma's 90, Spencerport Village 286 total, Town of Gates 3,700, or 3,800 actually, and the mutual aid response is 900. Year-to-date totals is 5,717 calls as of the end of June. We are currently on pace to hit almost 12,000 calls before the year's over. Total amount billed out for 2025 so far is 3.5 million. Total amount received 1.4 million. That's a return of about 40%, which is above the national average of like 26% return.
That's ridiculous.
So we're still above where most people are. Total credits given to Ogden, Parma, and Spencerport of 39,000, and again, these are where we give them $150 credit towards their bill, regardless of how many times they use the ambulance. So that's kind of what that is. It's also includes if we can't balance bill, like if they have Medicare or Medicaid and we're not allowed to balance bill for the rest of the call, that also includes those numbers. And then again, total calls for 2025 is 5,700. Drop calls, meaning how many calls were we not able to cover? That's 144. That still gets us at 95% call coverage, which is well above what New York State Department of Health wants us to be at. Mutual aid request was 512. We actually only responded to 292 of those requests for service, and we turned down 220. When we are turning down these calls, we have a matrix that we follow. They're usually low acuity calls, and the majority of those calls are mental hygiene arrest calls that we are not responding to across the region. Yeah.
Sorry, quick question. On this page, the total calls, drop calls, call coverage, mutual aid, blah, blah, blah. When we talk about dropped calls, are we talking total or just Ogden? I'm guessing we're talking
It's
total.
not, it's total. So
Yeah.
again, because it's really difficult because of the shared zip codes.
Yep, yep.
It's nigh on impossible to try and kind of figure that out.
Understood.
So that would be total across the board. I can tell you, although I don't have these numbers here, for drop calls, which is, wherever that number is. right there,
144.
144, and those are actual calls that someone else came into our district and covered. Of those 144 calls, though, I would say that less than 1% we were actually on a non-district call. Meaning, our ambulances were still on district calls, we just didn't have enough ambulance to cover district.
I love that you know my follow-up question to that.
So we watch that very closely, and in the back here, I've added some notes. So we've actually increased manpower, now we're at full staffing levels. We have 4 ALS ambulances, 7 days a week, 6A to 6P. We have 2 ALS ambulances, 6P to 6A, with an additional fly car. There are days when we get our volunteer staff that we'll see 5 to 6 ambulances during the day and 4 on the overnights. So we are definitely at full staffing levels, and we're gonna see those drop calls reduced dramatically. That does not mean we're gonna continue to take mutual aid, because we still follow the matrix that says it calls at these acuity levels we are not covering, regardless of the number of trucks in service. So, and then standbys, we did standbys for Gates live fire burnings. In May, we did the Gates DWI simulation. We're no longer doing that in Spencerport. The high ICE will change their policy, they just don't wanna do a DWI simulation, so that's not happening.
Yep.
Yeah, so then we did Spencerville Carnival, and then the Gates Charlie graduation. Total CPR classes that we taught, we did a total of 135 people for 35 classes across both districts, basically, so that's quite a bit. Both of those numbers reflect both paid classes and non-paid classes. So we still do 2 classes a month that are free to citizens of districts, of the districts themselves, that they can call up and get that, so we continue to do that. And I said miscellaneous on here, we are fully staffed right now, and I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. We still have more paramedics that are finishing class, they'll be changing from BLS to ALS, so that'll be helpful as well. We just put our new 4549 in service finally. We had some gurney issues with Stryker, but we finally got that figured out, so that's up and running. The old 4549 we have not sold yet. We are having issues with 4579. It's a 2022 truck. The engine, catastrophic failure, we're fighting with Ford. So we don't wanna get rid of our old ambulance if we potentially have to put it back in service. So, but if and when we decommission that ambulance, we're gonna get at least 40 grand for it, if not more, based on used ambulances and the need for them. And it'll go very quickly, we already have interest in it. Our new trailer we finally received from the south, it's all done, it's kinda neat. It is, a fully enclosed trailer to haul our gator. We are adding drop-down, benches on the inside. We can use it as a rehab unit as well as a standby. So in other words, if there's a major fire going on, we can get the firemen in and out of the weather, inside, have the air on them or the heat on them. We can have fans running, and we can provide care inside that establishment as well. We were able to get that entire trailer for, off grant money as well as donations, and Home Depot just stepped up and donated the generator for us to run that whole trailer, so that was great. Our new digital sign we installed out front, and again, that was paid for money from 2020 that we put in for the FEMA stuff during COVID. So we finally got that money from FEMA, and we used it for our sign out front, so that was good. And then Station 3, if you can buy it, we did a lot of new landscaping to Station 3. It looks pretty nice, and we're gonna continue to do changes to that. So, did you guys get a chance to go over the quarterly budget here? And does anybody have any questions on that? We're pretty much on pace for everything right now. So, and then you see, I went through it again today, and I didn't really see anything that stood out to me. The only thing, if you see uncategorized income on top, that 424, that is money that we're receiving back for grants and stuff. And then if you go down to where the vehicle and equipment is, that negative 164, again, that's just us taking the cost of that ambulance, but we got that money back up on top of the grants. So I went through it again, and I didn't see much, of anything really that stood out to me. I'm not sure if anything would stand out to anybody here that you had questions on. I'm trying to think.
Your cell telephones is over budget? Is
So
that,
we added one more phone to the budget itself.
what's that do for the rest of the year?
We'll have money for it because we have other areas, like if you look at our medical expenses on the next page, medical supplies disposable, we're well over budget on that area. So that shouldn't be an issue for that.
I have no questions. Eric?
The only thing I'll say is, we did send a letter to the governor requesting that she sign legislation that alleviates the cap, which we heard about earlier with the ambulance district. You know, the town was very forward-thinking, as a lot of towns are scrambling, a lot of agencies are failing. But that forward-thinking, I mean this respectfully, it hurts us in a way because we're penalized in the 2% cap and as a township in a way that no other municipalities are. And so to have the rules be offset in a way that is already offset, we obviously don't regret the decision, but we're hoping that the governor signs it. Luckily for her, both the Senate and the Assembly have voted to approve it. She just has to sign it. I don't know what's taking so long. But unfortunately, it also fails to still recognize the essential service, so. But clearly, you are essential to us, and we appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the minutes from July 9th, Resolution 198.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Trevino. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, we have privilege of the floor. If there's anybody that wishes to address any topic with the board, now would be the time. Come forward, state your name, address, and come forward with your topics.
Good evening, Linda DeVoto, 110 Ogden Center Road. I have 3 questions, and I know you can either answer them or not answer them here. Maybe you can answer them later if not here. On this tax levy limit, do you have a new percentage that you're trying not to exceed now? If it was 2%, are you saying now we're gonna try not to exceed 3% or 4% or 5%? Or is it just kind of free-for-all until you see what these numbers come in as? So that's my first question. My second question might not be for you folks, but with the more and more services moving over here for Ogden Rec, or excuse me, Ogden Senior Center, do you know what the plan is for that, the Sahara building? I should ask the village.
It's just, again, a reminder, there may be some response during town officers' reports, but at this point, we're just getting that, yeah.
Okay, so I can ask the village that. And the third one is about your resolution 214. Can you do full disclosure of who that employee is? That is coming back as a laborer? Or can you confirm or deny that it's Dan Wolf?
Can I break the rule once?
It's your rule.
It is not.
We're good then.
No, keep them guessing.
Anyone else that wishes to? Oh, God, Linda. You really threw me off. Okay. Is there, my face. Jeez. Anyone else that wishes to address the board at this time? I will close the privilege of the floor. Reports and remittances, Resolution 199.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Tan, second by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, town audits, Resolution 200.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, second by Councilman Hinman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. There's a list of correspondences there on the agenda we've got, and from there we'll move to reports from town officers. So the project that's moving, which is actually one of the items of my supervisor's report that has to do with senior programs coming to town hall. It's also a resolution on the board. We do have a multi-year agreement to continue services at Sahara, the current senior center. I believe that it at least goes through 2026. I'd have to check to see if it actually goes through 2027. Within the contract, there is a mutual window, I don't know if it's 60 days or 30 days, where either party can decide to move on from that with notice. We stay in conversations with Sahara over that building and its future use. However, I am not aware of any future use. I'll also say on the other item, 214, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. I believe that it becomes public record.
Well, I think that my understanding was that was already answered. The only question that was.
Yeah, that's fair.
so I would-
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so budget prep, we talked, a question was asked about tax limit. So let me clarify one thing. Unfortunately, we probably could have had a little bit more of a dialogue in the public hearing portion. But the budget prep that goes on is we basically sit down with every department and we listen to every single one of their asks. We then have to go through and wait for the numbers that Mrs. Foley had described. Unfortunately, those numbers, many of them, come very, very, very late, like end of September, early October late. We try to have a public budget hearing that first meeting in October, and typically, we try to have the budget as a resolution in the second meeting of October. However, we have until, in Monroe County, it's very strange, we have until December 15th to pass a budget. The county notoriously waits until then to do it, and we try our best to do it prior to that. I can't tell you the goal. I mean, the goal is to balance the budget, you know, and to keep, whether there's a 2% marker or not, the goal is to keep the budgets as cost-effective and low as possible, which we have done. The problem is that we keep doing that. And if there's a worksheet that I worked on with Sherry that actually looked at just what our increases are, and on average, they're between $150,000 and $250,000 a year. Now, over the last 4 years, the costs have far exceeded that. And so we have come to the point where having conservative budgets is really harming or has the potential to harm operations. So we have gotten extremely creative. For the first time ever, the town has offered healthcare buyouts. We haven't had it for a full year, so it's really hard to know the full savings of having things like that. We've reduced probably to, I'm not gonna say to the town's detriment, but we do not have a cushion in healthcare. We typically were budgeting for every employee to have full family healthcare, whether they had it or not, because at any point during a year, someone could get full family healthcare. So to play it safe, that's what the town had historically done. That's something we changed because I don't want to keep I don't want to say overtaxing. I don't want to keep asking for more money that we keep not spending. So we have found, those are just two examples. We found many ways to try and keep things under wraps, hoping that things would change. There's two other things. We promised not to use the reassessment as a moneymaker, and we didn't. The tax cap over the last several years, like I said, has been significantly lower as a percentage. And to be honest, our friends in other government agencies in this town have budgeted what they thought was appropriate, many of which were voted on by the public, so I can't knock that. But they've been able to keep up with a lot of these things because they've allowed their budgets to be very high. And so when people come to the town and they say, my taxes are really high, we say, we're a very small portion of your tax bill. And then we explain to them, here's where the taxes have increased throughout the year. So I don't have a magic number because there's still other things we're waiting on. If there is a change that happens with the ambulance district, that will actually go a long way. What we don't want is we don't want to wait until it's far too late. We actually did some research too, and I was actually shocked by this. In 2023, 24% of all towns in New York State went over the tax cap. Last year, it was the same number of towns, which is weird, but 25% of all towns went over the tax cap in New York State. That's astonishing how many towns have to go over the tax cap because of this. And the tax cap is like a magic number. It's just, they say this is what it is as a percentage of the buildings you have and the properties that generate taxes. And so even that number was only just solidified within the last month. So a lot of this is sort of last minute. There's also, I found out, because I'm the president of the Monroe County Supervisors Association, and I asked this question at our last meeting, how many people pass this resolution and then don't use it? The answer was half. Half of the towns pass this resolution. This town actually used to pass the resolution every year, whether they used it or not. When I got here, I said, that's ridiculous. Why would we caution the public that we're gonna go over the tax cap and then not do it? So I got rid of it. In hindsight, I would have rather have kept it consistent so that it was on the books in case we needed it. But at the end of the day, my goal has always been to try and share as much information as makes sense. In this case, we need to do it just in case. And we don't know the answer. So that's my budget prep. That's one bullet point. We did meet with the historians of the village and the town to discuss upcoming plans for the 250th birthday of the United States. Earlier this evening, we recognized several Girl Scouts from Spencerport based Troop 60237. I actually don't know how you break that up. But they earned the prestigious Gold Award, which is the highest honor similar to the Eagle Scout Award. And that was a very great celebration of 4 remarkable young women. Thank you to everyone that was able to be here. Chief Gray put together a presentation from the Monroe County Fit Team. It's an organization that actually Brian and I did a lot to support when we were in the county when they only had 6 members. And so we're glad to see that Fit Team, which really does a lot of mental health as it relates to law enforcement and people in crisis. That was something very early on before there was a big push for that we had supported. So we were happy to have them here speaking to our staff. I did speak with Officer Lindauer, who today, unfortunately, we accept his resignation. He called me from Florida and to say the weather was nice, which I didn't think was very kind of him. And he just wanted to thank the board for the opportunity. I thanked him in return for everything he did, not just for the DARE program, but for our community policing program that's come a long way. I did post an update from the CSX project at the Gillette Road Bridge. They gave some timelines. I've been in constant communication with the county. The last thing I want is for Wind Construction, who's doing all the work, to be done, and then all of a sudden everyone sit there and start to schedule what needs to be done as far as lifting the red flags. So I've been in communication constantly with the county to coordinate all the efforts for not just the completion date, addressing both red flags, making sure the county and the state are right away inspecting. They're going to give their report back to the county, and hopefully if both red flags are addressed, the bridge will reopen. That has been a labor of love. I actually have really appreciated some of the individuals in the county that I've worked with that have been extremely helpful. Certainly this board for advocating, and all the first responders and people that came and joined our press conference, because it was less than 2 weeks after that we finally saw progress. And actually got a call yesterday from Wind Construction to just give an update. So they're clearly communicating directly with us, and I really appreciate that. And appreciate the highway for their help, because they're making sure that this is staying on track too. So not just the highway, but specifically Doug. So thank you, Doug. Earlier today, I had a meeting with Amazon. They are proposing what we have talked about, a same-day delivery station. It is smaller than Rock 5 across the street, but it is still a significant project. The first time I heard of this project, you all know, the question out of my mouth was, are you guys doing a pilot program? Pilot programs mean that they get tax abatements. And I said, because if you do, then I will have conditions where you basically refund the town all of their tax dollars. They didn't love that. I don't care. There was a very serious situation at Rock 1 across the street that occupies a great deal of resources from Gates PD, Ogden actually assisted with that as well. And so for them to not have to contribute to the burden of the response and the funding for our first responders is not acceptable. Today, they announced two things, which is great. Number one is that they actually have early September slated for the actual opening of Rock 5, which is what is currently built and sitting there. But they also conveyed to me that they are not pursuing a pilot at this time. Now, they have and I have to say it that way, they have shared that they may even own the building this time too, which would go a long way as well. So that's a big win for us. That was something that I pushed pretty hard for. I was happy to hear it today. I also told them that they're not allowed on the planning board meeting for tomorrow until I have a conversation with them, and it was just like magic that we had a meeting today, the day before. So weird. Very happy to hear that though, and glad to have helped that, with our budget, because that's a significant portion of tax revenue. Grant proposals. I talked a little bit about this, the grant proposal for the community center that actually contributes toward the senior and youth programs, helps with more, doing a lot more of our work digitally, which really helps, from sort of an environmental standpoint, the amount of paper that we use. It helps for audiovisual. We want to make sure that any seniors that attend meetings or that are part of the programs have hearing loops, things that will help for a lot of the programs. What will happen is that the person that's leading the program will wear something around their neck. We did this all the time as teachers for some of our students with disabilities. And then there'd be listening devices for seniors. Just one of the many things that we've got, but it also helps subsidize the other portion of the construction project that we're talking about that's on the agenda just for seeker. But that could end up meaning that there is no local cost for that project, with the exception of a portion of proceeds that we've already secured through the county. So excited to keep moving on that. And again, just want to thank on the record Christian for all his hard work. That is a massive grant and a massive amount of work. Thank you, Christian, for all your efforts on that. I talked about this online, but we conducted a water infrastructure study, and we sent out this questionnaire to the almost 400 homes that would be part of the study. We're waiting to collect the feedback, and then on top of that, holding an informational meeting on September 10th, basically after we've compiled all the information. But that'll be just before the board meeting on September 10th. So we'll have a good amount of time to have our consultant address the audience, but then also time for them to ask questions and inform our decision. Parks and Rec movie night is tomorrow at 6:30 if anyone wants to attend. September 20th is the Patriot Remembrance Day in Adams Basin. This is the second of 5, one that we already had last month or earlier this month. I can't remember. Okay. We are also planning a first responder appreciation night with all of our first responder agencies on Wednesday, October 22nd at the start of the board meeting. This coincides with National First Responders Day on August 28th. And then sort of speaking of which, just congratulations to Chief Gray on a very successful national night out for all of us that was able to attend. It was a tremendous deal, and very appreciate to just continue to have that community engagement. I think that goes a long way. We don't really want our first interaction with the police department to be a negative one, and so we've taken a lot of strides over the last couple of years to make that happen. And one more last note on that. You may have read about this, but just giving a little bit more details that I can give. I got to give a lot of credit to our police department and specifically Officer Ortiz Speed, who was assisting overnight on a call of a nonverbal adult with intellectual disabilities that just wound up early morning at the 7-Eleven. And also credit to the 7-Eleven clerk who called 911 to say something's really wrong here. The individual walked a very great distance. I don't know that I can share the details of from where, but longer than any of us would feel comfortable doing down a busy interstate. It could have gone very, very, very poorly, and Officer Ortiz Speed responded. You're talking about a nonverbal individual with severe intellectual disability. We took him back here. The community responded, and it was actually a former teacher that was able to identify based on the disabilities. I'll be honest, it's not good enough. I think that the county needs to seriously consider some type of registry, because there has to be something that identifies, you're helpless unless some random former teacher is able to identify through a Facebook post. And we also were able to kind of test out this hyperreach that took place for any of you that got a phone call at 6:30 in the morning. But I have to give all the credit, certainly to the clerk at 7-Eleven, but certainly to Officer Speed, who was able to, address the situation. Young man was great. He loved getting soda and snacks and watching Netflix until we were able to identify what was going on. But just another level of detail that our officers contribute to these. So, okay. I'm officially done. Councilman Baker.
Regarding the Sahara, 2027 supervisor, and also 60 days. So,
That's what I remember as well.
2027
In 60 days.
in 60 days.
Linda, that's for you.
I looked it up. Anyway, I digress. What do I have? I believe myself and Councilman Hinman are going to be attending the Homesteads for Hope's Beneath the Brim Blue Jean Ball preview next week. So they're going to be unveiling their newly renovated barn and a ribbon cutting ceremony, so we're looking forward to that. Thank you, Christian, for forwarding that invite to us. And I just want to thank Highway Superintendent Case for working with me on item 214 tonight. You've done a commendable job with your crews, and like I told you on the phone in the conversation we had, I put my trust in your ability to manage your people. So that's why we're at where we're at.
Appreciate it.
That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Turbino.
Nothing to report.
Councilman Hinman.
Well, Councilman Baker already said what I was going to say regarding the event. Yeah, we're going to a ball together, so take that as you will. But other than that, I had a couple reports from members of the ZBA and other committees, just that things are going well and that there was no reports that I felt that I needed to report on tonight, but everything's going well there. Other than that, I had a good trip, if anyone cares. Just got back from Alaska, so hey, it was good. But other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you. Councilman Toms.
No report, thank you.
Highway Superintendent Doug Case.
Good evening. Happy to report that as of yesterday, with a couple weeks of work with the software on the fuel island, we were able to program a couple keys and test it and actually flow some fuel into a pickup truck and a diesel and DEF and test it all out. So it is all up and running and able to be used. Going to be some time because we had to put every parameter in for every vehicle now that the software is done. Because if we did it ahead of time, as soon as you change one of the parameters, you got to reprogram every key. So glad we only spent time programming 4 keys and not 50. So we'll be working on. There's a couple punch list items. We met with the contractor as we were doing that. So they're doing a couple punch list items, and we'll be working on getting that database in service and getting it ready to use. And we'll be working on the final bill of the contractor. So finally there. Crews have been busy in the last month doing our scheduled road maintenance, seen it around town. Still some more to be done to wrap up here, hopefully most of it before school. Next week, we'll be paving Sias Lane, a section of Bow Lane, Hermosa Rise. Gillette Road at the intersections of 31 is part of a county job before we do and also West Side Drive at Union, a little section at paving in there. Before the following week, we have to go back and surface treat the rest of West Side Drive from 259 to Washington. And then Gillette Road, same thing with the bridge going on. We have a surface treat over there to do from 531 to just the bridge area, Turner Drive. Crews have been over there. They're over there today. The county asked us to prep that area, the bridge deck and guardrail area, because it's been overgrown for the duration. So as part of our Gillette Road project, we're getting that prepped for them, so when they are ready, they can just pull the barriers, because there was weeds growing and stuff all on the road. So that's been completed, and we did put our auction on items that were surplused up on Auctions International, so we should have the results of that in the next by the 28th. And the one item, talking with Brockport Schools, they weren't interested in trying to purchase that directly from us, so the one item of the truck, we're gonna get that one on, that we were waiting, we're gonna put that on Auctions International too, so we'll be having another auction here in the next month or so. So, that's it.
Very good, thank you. Town Clerk, Noel Burley.
We have been really busy with marriage licenses and passports. I think a lot of families are trying to get some passports done before the kids go back to school. Hunting licenses started on sale on August 1st, so we've had a lot of hunters in. So we've just been busy.
Very good.
And I just want to thank the board for recognizing the Girl Scouts tonight. They meant a lot.
You did a great job putting it together. Thank you, Noel. Okay, there being no other unfinished new business, we'll move to new business. Madam Clerk, if you wouldn't mind.
Resolution 201, authorizing a budget transfer to address a budgetary shortage in the Law Attorney's Department, Personnel Services, and Social Security accounts.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 202, authorizing the acceptance of a grant from the William G. Pomeroy Foundation for the purpose of purchasing and installing a New York State historic marker for Town Pump School.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 203, authorizing the town Ogden to solicit competitive bids for the installation of an E1 system to support a new bathroom at the maintenance shop located at Pineway Ponds Park.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 204, authorizing a budget transfer associated with campus safety and security.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 205, authorizing the acceptance of a donation to the Ogden Special Police from Dick's Ice Cream Shop.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Any discussion? Then just wanted to say thanks. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 206, authorizing the finance director to make all necessary budget amendments for the Buffalo Road Park Development Project.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 207, authorizing an agreement with Integrated Systems for security camera system improvements at Pineway Ponds Park.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 208, issuance of a negative declaration in accordance with the state environmental
Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 209, authorizing Ogden Town Supervisor Mike Sale to sign the New York State Department of Transportation 2024-2025 Supplemental Agreement Number 7 to adjust under contract D014812 due to the winter severity index.
I'll move that.
Second. Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 210, approving the 2024 year-end budget appropriations to cover budget expense overages following the completion of the annual audits.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please. Sorry, I'm moving very fast. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Resolution 211, authorizing a budget transfer for network switch replacements.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 212, introducing local law number 2 of 2025, amending Town Code, Chapter 289, vehicles off-road to further regulate the use of motor-driven vehicles on town-owned and privately owned property, and establishing a public hearing on said local law.
So moved. Second. Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Toms. What I'll say is that we've been working for the last at least several months, not just on continuing to address the issues that we're seeing, but to actually put some teeth to it, similar to what we've done with illegal marijuana sales to minors that this board approved of in a local law that actually has done quite a bit to, I'm not going to say stop it completely, but to really address that problem. We're looking to address the public nuisance issue that not all kids are participating in, but in the ones, especially the repeated ones over and over again, by really taking a look at what other municipalities have done to address this and sort of just adopting and strengthening what we already had on the books. Certainly a lot of credit to our town council for really helping us put something like this together. Of course, we're having a public hearing on it. This one, however, because we want it on the books as quickly as possible, I have a rule, it's my rule, that we don't typically vote on something in the same meeting that we have a public hearing. I may consider placing it on the agenda next time just simply because if this board wants to consider it, I would like it addressed as quickly as possible. So we've got a month before I might change my mind, but this is one of those ones I would really like on the books as quickly as possible pending the public hearing. So any other thoughts on that? Any other conversations? Okay, if not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 213, introducing local law number 3 of 2025 to prohibit smoking and vaping in parks and recreational areas and establishing a public hearing.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. I'll again start this conversation by saying the town had long had an established practice of restricting this. However, nobody turned this into a local law. So it's kind of hard to enforce something that is not a local law. So we are looking at this again from the standpoint of any type of public nuisance. The board does not care what anybody does in the privacy of their own homes. However, when it comes to our public parks and children and other people that want to enjoy these areas, they really don't want to be affected by what other people choose to do. So we are entertaining this, again, local law, and trying to address this issue. So anybody else have any thoughts, comments on this one? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. And last.
Resolution 214, authorizing an amendment to an existing memorandum of agreement between the town of Ogden and the International discussion of Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 118.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Tom. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. With that, I'm going to make a motion. Well, first I'll ask, is there any other business that this board would like to address in work session? If not, I'm going to make a motion that we move to executive session to discuss contracts and consult with the town's attorney.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.